And it's the ultimate genre combination, ninja and golf. Yes, ninja is a game genre. No further questions. Welcome to Ninja Golf. Now, I won't pretend to be an expert on the Atari 7800. I've never had one. I've never even played on someone else's. And honestly, Ninja Golf is the only 7800 game I have yet to play. I'm sure I'll fix that someday, so there are a few that look pretty fun, but for now I'll have to assume it's all downhill from here, because this game rules. This was released in 1990 in North America, and one of the last titles to come out for the Atari 7800, a console that struggled to get much traction at a time when the NES was dominating the Western market, and the Sega Genesis was picking up steam in its first year of release there. There were also some Ninja Golf ports planned for Atari computers that were ultimately cancelled, so this would end up being an Atari 7800 exclusive developed by Blue Sky Software, who had also released a handful of other 7800 games at the time, and they would go on to do quite a few other computer games and a pretty solid roster of Sega console titles in the 90s, like Jurassic Park, Shadowrun, and Vector Man. Ninja Golf has also had a recent re-release and a dodgy-looking mobile game remake, but we'll get into that later. The game opens up with an appropriate and very silly lore dump for a Ninja Golf game, and you tee up on one of 9 holes to begin the true test of your years of ninja training. The screen layout has a large side-scrolling view of everything, and there's a small map of the hole in the lower left used for aiming your shots, and a HUD next to that with your score, health, remaining lives, and stock of throwing stars. Basically, you just aim and time your button press for the ideal distance, whack the ball, and start running after it. No need to futz around with picking a club or worrying about the wind, probably because you're a damn ninja. Of course, along the way, you'll be beating up other ninjas, weird mutant groundhog things, and giant frogs. And the sand traps also feature deadly snakes, and naturally, the water hazards are fully stocked with bloodthirsty sharks. Just a typical day on the course. And there are a few random items that appear and can be picked up as well, like health potions, extra lives, more throwing stars, or temporary shields. Once you finally reach the green, you'll have to face off against a fire-breathing dragon guardian of the hole, with a behind-the-back view reminiscent of the bonus stage of the Shinobi arcade game. And you must dodge the dragon's projectiles while timing your own shots to hit it in the face. The Guardian's speed gets gradually increased the further you get, so these parts do get a little tricky later, but ultimately they're pretty predictable. Overall, this game doesn't get too tough while on easy or normal difficulty, but don't worry too much if you lose, as you'll only dishonor your family. Meanwhile, true ninjas out there can test their skills with hard mode or kamikaze mode, and in true classic Atari game fashion, you can also push yourself beyond simply beating the game by aiming for higher scores, with bonus points awarded for shooting par or better, along with killing enemies and grabbing power-ups. Or if you really like getting constantly kicked in the ass, consider the speedrun. Now granted, the game doesn't really have a ton of depth to it, but the path to mastery is there if you want it. Aside from its original release, it's also seen an official 7800 reprint by Atari recently, pretty reasonably priced too at $32.99. And it was also included in their Atari 50 compilation, available on Steam and other modern platforms, and it plays just fine in that emulated version. Somewhat more regrettably, it also received a mobile game remake for iOS and Android in 2019, which has already since been delisted on both platforms. The concept is similar, but presented in 3D with a very generic aesthetic. It's fine for what it is, but it doesn't really have the same charm for me in this modernized version. But still, the original Ninja Golf, in its pure, campy, and janky form, against all odds I can safely say it's truly the best Ninja Golf game ever made. Maybe a bold statement considering how competitive that genre is, but I'm sticking to it. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.